Game Day presented by Bud Light. Alongside Tommy Kraft, I'm Ty Richardson. We're going to be with you the next 2 hours prior to Phil Elson, Gino Bell, and Rick Schaefer getting you ready with the Learfield pregame. And Tommy, it's been 15 years since you've beat Alabama. It's been 18 years since you've won in Tuscaloosa, but it is a monumental task ahead of you today, and I think that this Arkansas team is at least up for the challenge to a degree of competing against the Crimson Tide later on.
It feels like you're taking a team to Tuscaloosa today that at least has more belief than most of the teams over the last 15 years. There have been a few close calls. 2014 comes to mind. You felt hopeful in 2010 at home, but Ty, it's been a while since you went to Tuscaloosa feeling like you had a chance to compete deep into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think this football team, and I saw our buddy Greg Thomas, he is the Hog Tunes guy, and he does a fantastic job each and every week. Greg, his cartoon today is of KJ Jefferson, and that's where you really start if you're an Arkansas fan, the belief that you have in a dual-threat quarterback that hung 51 on Ole Miss, that came up big in a big moment against LSU. I know they didn't have the best game offensively. He out-dueled Rodgers 2 weeks ago, who's going to be up for that third-team All-SEC quarterback. Tommy, we say the same thing each and every week. It comes back to the quarterback position, and you have one of the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the Southeastern Conference, which always helps you out.
Yeah, and the fact that you've got a true dual-threat running, passing option RPO quarterback, and really the first dual-threat guy, I guess, since Matt Jones that really gave you an equal opportunity to advance the chains on the ground or through the air, and probably more so with his legs, honestly, than his arm, I think gives you a chance today. The way to beat Alabama apparently this year is to be able to run the football on them. The stats say they're still very good at stopping the run, but if there is a crease, if there is a moment, if there is a place where you can actually gain some ground and move the chains, it would have to be on the ground most likely against the Crimson Tide.
Here's the issue. You're playing, I just gave some credit to where KJ has been this season. You're probably playing the first or second best quarterback in this league in Bryce Young. And as a younger guy, we were kind of wondering about him. You're following up Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones, and Bryce out of California. I think he went to Modern Day High School, if I remember that correctly. You're wondering, what is this offense going to look like? And for the most part, he has been really efficient. Now, there's been little stints here and there where he's looked off. The LSU game in the second half, the Florida game in the second half, and then also parts of the A&M game. But, Tommy, for the majority and the duration of the season, this guy's been special, and there's a reason he's probably going to end up in New York.
Yeah, and the question is will there be 2 Alabama Crimson Tide football players there? Will Will Anderson, the outside linebacker we'll see today, will he possibly be there as well? But yeah, Bryce Young's going to be one of those guys. I don't want to say by default. There just hasn't really been a standout player that kind of rose above the rest of college football, and he's right there with the best, I think, this year in college football.
Yeah, no, I know we were talking about that a month ago, how the Heisman hadn't really picked up, and you said to wait a little bit. Well, Tommy, we've waited, and it's still kind of like you just said, no one's taking it by the horns,
right.
And which is weird at this point. I think back, there's certain Heisman moments that everyone can remember from a certain player. Cam Newton's run against LSU, Johnny Manziel's touchdown pass against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Mark Ingram had a long run. Derrick Henry had one. I mean, you just look, and there's like a specific player, specific moment. You sit to yourself and say, man, this is why this guy's going to win the Heisman Trophy. And for Young, for C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, maybe Kenneth Walker had his against Michigan with the 5 touchdowns, but no one has truly just gripped the award off the mantle, and which can make it interesting to some extent because you don't know who's actually going to win. I feel like a lot of times we head in to the presentation with Herbie and Fowler and all those guys, and you're like, all right, this guy's going to win the award. Just hurry up and announce it already. But it's just kind of a wait-and-see thing for me when we get to that December weekend.
Well, it tells you how important these games are. And, if you're Nick Saban looking for the perfect thing to motivate your quarterback and your team, and I think to a larger degree than we realize, a Heisman Trophy is a team award where the team – and particularly the offensive players, if a quarterback wins it, the offensive linemen, the wide receivers, take pride in their guy winning it. Today's the kind of day that could separate you up or down if you're Bryce Young against Arkansas, a team that is still not considered in the upper crust or upper echelon of college football, but it is 2 ranked opponents today, according to the College Football Playoff Committee. All of these games with all of these contenders for the Heisman are huge here in late November. And ultimately, games like today might be the little bit of difference in someone's vote. Probably the conference championship games will determine a lot of things, but don't think for a second these games today aren't important from the standpoint of the Heisman Trophy.
We've talked about Arkansas playing spoiler today against Alabama, and not necessarily them going to the SEC championship because they would still have to lose to Auburn next week and wild things would have to happen, but you could play spoiler to their college football playoff chances. Now, there still is an outside chance if they beat Georgia that they could get in based on the way everything's shaken out to this point, but you could also play spoiler to Bryce Young. If Bryce doesn't have a great day against your defense, which it's all come somewhat of a blueprint of what you need to do, and that's blitz the house a lot. Now, Bryce is going to make some plays, and you're going to get frustrated, but LSU did a great job, particularly in the second half of that football game. Ed Ogeron just said, you know what, forget it. Let's bring the house. We get beat. And, Tommy, I know they still got beat by 6, but they truly, from a defensive perspective, did not get beat in that football game.
Yeah, so, I mean, it'll be interesting to just kind of see how things unfold and, what kind of happens around the country. But I think this is an interesting game today, Ty, to see if Arkansas can compete into the second half. This was a measuring stick ball game for Arkansas. You kind of faltered and kind of took what seemingly feels like a step back in October, not winning an SEC game there. I don't know if you'll win today, but you got a chance to win 3 out of 4 this month, and today would be a statement about where your program is headed if you could go and at least compete well into the fourth quarter.
You got walloped in Athens, and the last time that you had a matchup of this caliber and a team worthy of this name, you didn't show up. And I know Coach Pittman and his staff are going to make sure that they need to correct whatever needed to be corrected leading up to that game in Georgia and leading up to this game now. And it looks like they're healthier. I know Jalen's not – I say they're healthier. Jalen Catalon's not a part of this team because of the injury. But there doesn't seem to be – I mean, they just came off Texas. Then you had Georgia Southern, then Rice. Or Georgia Southern, then, A&M. So they were banged up. And I remember that being a huge topic of conversation heading into that one, how banged up they were. And Georgia just took full advantage of that. Alabama, what was interesting is Clay told us yesterday, he was kind enough, and he's going to join us in the 10 o'clock hour as well, that some of the games that they haven't played great this season, they have had bad practices, and Clay from his brother got the word that they did not have good practices this week.
Well, and, is that a focus matter? Is it the health of your team? And can they break the trend? Clay was also relaying in the story, they don't play well when you don't practice well, which is, pretty common that you play like you practice. Will that mean today it's a sluggish start? I still have a hard time believing that we're going to see a Crimson Tide team play below their standard for 4 full quarters.
Yeah, especially following the LSU performance 2 weeks ago. Now, you got to remember they crushed New Mexico State this past week in a very cupcake-like game, but they'll have to close it out against a really tough team in Arkansas. And then we know that despite what the records and the injury situations is in the Iron Bowl, that game can always get weird, particularly in Jordan-Hare Stadium. So it's not going to be an easy stretch for the Alabama Crimson Tide down the stretch, but we're talking about Arkansas wanting to make somewhat of a statement today. I think Alabama would like to as well, to prove that even if they somehow lost to Georgia, which a lot of people think they would in the SEC championship, that they still be deserved of a college football playoff top spot. We have a lot to talk about today here on Arkansas Game Day, and you're welcome to jump in on the conversation at 877-377-6963 as we are live from Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
Walking around a Ford F-150 STX 4x4, my buddy Audrey at Randall Ford. And, if someone's in the market for pre-owned, you have several trucks to choose from. Compact SUVs, mid-size SUVs, full-size SUVs, Jeeps. You have all kinds of toys. But the trucks, that's what you specialize in at Randall Ford.
Yeah, absolutely, Jimmy. Like you said, we do have a little bit of everything, guys, whether you're looking for a small car, SUV, big truck, lifted truck. We do have a little bit of everything, but we have a ton of trucks right now.
You got Raptors, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man.
This dealership is known for having, variety. And so if someone's in the market and they're they're looking for a vehicle. This is a place to come. Plus, if even if they're a little bit down on their luck and their credit score's not where it needs to be, you guys will work with them and help them.
Yeah, we sure will, guys. We have the best finance people in the business. We're going to go above and beyond to get you that deal. Even if you've heard, no, it can't happen other places, we go above and beyond to get you done.
There you go. Come by and see my buddy Audrey, or one of the fine salespeople here at Randall Ford.
This is Arkansas Game Day.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics? Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Wade Gilkey and Fort Smith about Shelter's home insurance.
Messy leaks, stopped up toilets and sinks, all of these can be a nightmare. This is Emily with Mr. Rooter Plumbing in Fort Smith. Did you know that when you call Mr. Rooter, you get real-time tracking so you know exactly when to expect us? We know you're busy, so we send a reminder, so scheduling with us is convenient. When you need plumbing, call Mr. Rooter in Fort Smith or book online at mrrooter.com. We're your neighborly company.
Don't brush off the dentist. They have fillings too. River Valley Smile Center can provide you and your family with comprehensive dental services in a friendly and welcoming setting. From cosmetic dentistry to orthodontics, implants to sedation, we have everything you need for bright and healthy teeth. To schedule an appointment, visit rivervalleysmiles.com or give us a call at 479-646-0706. That's 479-646-0706.
Looking for a fence company that will provide the personal touch to your fence or gating project? Call Dusty's Fence Company at 479-629-4190. Dusty's Fence Company specializes in custom wood design, vinyl fencing, chain link and ornamental iron projects, and they can even stain your fence to complete your project. Family owned and in business for 20 years, you will deal with the same person from start to finish. That's Dusty's Fence Company, 479-629-4190.
What do you get when you pull into Tony's Tire Service? You get the best selection of tires for any car, truck, or commercial vehicle. Tony's Tire Service has Cooper tires and is ready to serve you to get you back on the road safely. They'll also get your vehicle fixed with brake replacements plus an alignment with the best repair guy in the area. Tony's Tire Service has been serving the River Valley for over 34 years. Come let our guys replace your tires with Cooper tires and our service department to make sure the vehicle has the best brakes and alignments. Tony's Tire Service, 7200 South 28th Street in Fort Smith. Service you can depend on.
Whole Hog Cafe on Phoenix Avenue is now open 11 till 8 Monday through Saturday. Whole Hog Cafe has party packs for your watch party, tailgate party, business meetings, or lunch and dinner for the family. You will see a few new items on the menu to go along with the award-winning barbecue and sides. Whole Hog Cafe, Phoenix Avenue, offers online ordering at wholehogfortsmith.com, along with curbside and delivery service. Or come see us 11 till 8 Monday through Saturday. Follow Whole Hog Cafe on Facebook and Instagram for specials.
Looking for a career in trucking? JR's Trucking Company, a family-owned and operated company, has prided itself on being a safe, reliable, and dedicated carrier. Headquartered in Van Buren, Arkansas since 2002, JR's Trucking Company specializes in transporting poultry and produce across the United States. They offer competitive pay and benefits, weekly home time, plus an $8,000 sign-on bonus. Get on the road to success. Contact JR's Trucking Company today at 1-800-428-4033. JR's Trucking Company, a professional team you can count on.
It's No Shave November, benefiting the Arkansas Prostate Cancer Foundation. Show support for prostate cancer survivors and help raise money to support the mission of the Arkansas Prostate Cancer Foundation. Donate online at arprostatecancer.org. All money raised supports Arkansas Prostate Cancer Foundation's free awareness and educational programs, free prostate cancer screenings, and free patient assistance programs. And every dollar raised stays in Arkansas. Prostate cancer screenings can save your life. Donate today at arprostatecancer.org.
ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
The good snap. The hold is down. The kick is on the way. And it is good! Arkansas wins! The Razorbacks have won it! For the second week in a row, the last play of the game produces a Razorback victory.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
As always at Randall Ford, you can find brand new Ford F-150 Super Duties in stock. They have an incredible pre-owned selection here right now. And I was talking to someone about this yesterday. The all-new Ford Bronco. Tommy, we were talking to Sean about this. His wife loves that vehicle. And I think a lot of people that would come by and just to stop to see it would feel that exact same way.
Oh, I'm telling you, very popular right now. And boy, those Broncos. It seems like everywhere you go, someone's asking you about the Ford Bronco, the 2-door, the 4-door. So I mean, those are hot items right now, Ty.
Yeah, and they've been doing it here since 1908, the fourth oldest Ford dealership in the country. They're up for so many best of the best categories every single year because you're going to get the service, the selection, and the sales here at Randall Ford. So come by and see us at any point today at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Tommy, only 3 top 25 games today. Arkansas, Alabama being the lone SEC one. Kind of a mediocre SEC slate relative to kind of some other games. It's kind of been a bummer. You were hoping these last 2 weeks it's loaded down, but this week not so much. And I guess this is week 12 of the college football season.
Yeah, and I was listening to halftime yesterday with Phil, and I think it was Connor O'Gara that was on and was talking about how the SEC's kind of game the system from the standpoint of where you're placing games and talking about other conferences with the Big Ten placing bigger games early in their non-conference games and changing the narrative. So I don't think it's by accident you get to this point in the season and the conference as a whole is taking very few risks with their teams and their top teams at this point. So it's all by design, and I think they're when you look around the country and getting out early in front of the committee's eyes who haven't even really met and formally put out their polls till right now. It's all about kind of holding position right now when you have 2 of the top 4 spots when you're the Southeastern Conference. I think it's kind of all part of the master plan.
I think it's pretty easy to determine that Georgia is the best team in college football, and most people would say Alabama is number 2. We'll see what happens with their game today against the Razorbacks. Next week it's Auburn, and then taking on the Bulldogs in the most likely scenario for the SEC championship. But, Tommy, I think after that, you got Ohio State. They've got a big game as they host the Spartans today. They get Michigan next week. Oregon has that probably the biggest win in college football to this point, going to Columbus and beating the Buckeyes. You look at some other teams like Sparty, who still has an opportunity. Michigan still has an opportunity. Oklahoma, I think, is on the outside looking into this point, but they finished their season strong against Iowa State this week. Oklahoma State next week in the Big 12 Championship. Who knows? I'm really curious to see how these final 3 games, 2 regular season and conference championships games take place and kind of play out to close out the season.
Yeah, and I think everyone right now is really looking and thinking what will happen in an SEC championship game if it's a really tight game to the end, well played, and Georgia beats Alabama. Does Alabama fall out of the college football playoff just simply because of the losses, the number of losses they have? That's going to be a great debate if it ends up playing out that way, that a 2-loss conference runner-up who, to the eye, seems better than the other teams that might get in ahead of them, but it's also hard to think for most of the country that a 2-loss team deserves to be in the playoff. That, to me, is an interesting scenario that could very well play out.
Yeah, I just don't know what's going to happen, which is nice because similar to the Heisman Trophy, there's been some years where you just are waiting on the award to be divvied out and you're just waiting on the selection show to tell us what we already know. Well, this year seems to be a little bit different. Again, Georgia is securely in. I think even if they lost the SEC championship somehow to the Alabama Crimson Tide, they would still find themselves in. And then you're just kind of left, hey, what's going to happen now? And so the College Football Playoff Committee, Gary Barta, who is the chairman of it, he's also the Iowa athletics director. At one point in time, it looked like he was going to have to recuse himself from conversations, not so much because the Hawkeyes have taken a step back. But I'm excited. I'm excited for these conference championships that we have ahead. The ACC is terrible this year. You thought Clemson was going to be a part of it, and they have just been awful. Pac-12, Oregon's still probably going to come out about it. They get Utah today. I can't remember if that game's in Eugene or if it's in Salt Lake City, but that's their matchup today. And then go up north. That's probably more – that would be the Big Ten, Tommy, is probably the most competitive who's going to win the conference of any of the remaining, because I think the others, not necessarily set in stone, but you definitely have a better idea what's going to happen.
Yeah, so, I mean I'm interested to see, I think it's going to come down to the championship games in most cases on what happens. And who gets that 4th spot. And will there be either the Big Ten or the SEC, one of those two leagues, actually get 2 of their teams in to the conference championship game? Because the SEC, I mean, I guess you could make a case for A&M because they beat Alabama, but it's a harder case to figure out how they could be that team that could leapfrog Alabama should they lose to Georgia. The SEC really doesn't have that third team that is just kind of waiting on the porch, much like A&M was last year.
Cincinnati, are they just completely done to this point? I'm trying to think of a scenario what has to play out for them to somehow, some way sneak into the playoff. They get SMU today. I want to say that game's up in Ohio in Cincy, but they just don't have any quality games really remaining on their schedule to kind of boast and say this is why we deserve to be in the college football playoff.
I think America's rooting for them, right? Because we love the underdog. But yeah, I don't know that that they're going to ultimately get there. They can't seem to even crack their way in right now to that top 4. Obviously, when we watch it, so they need Notre Dame to win and win big because that's their best win. I think right now they're having a hard time getting their resume to stack up. Obviously, so I don't think Cincinnati can. Is there much left they could do to get in? They're going to need help from the outside world.
877-377-6963 is the number to call or text in as Arkansas gets ready for this Alabama game coming up at 2:30 on CBS. Tommy, another opportunity for Arkansas to showcase themselves. They've had some great times, man. 6 p.m. Texas game. College game day in Athens. At that point, it was the most viewed college game day of the season. You played A&M at the 2:30 game. I mean, you've gotten some pretty marquee games, and anytime you have a chance to duel against the Alabama Crimson Tide, it is a great chance to brand your program, even if you don't win, just to kind of give yourself a little bit of respect across the high school recruiting world right now.
Yeah, and, again, we talk about measuring sticks today. I mean, you go to Tuscaloosa, you're at 2:30 on CBS. It's kind of by default the game of the week in the SEC. It's a ranked matchup, so I think a lot of the country will be paying attention. We've seen the numbers and the ratings that when you're on broadcast TV and you're in one of these afternoon, even some of these 11 a.m. games that are on Fox and CBS and ABC, they seemingly just draw more numbers, and Alabama's going to bring a crowd on its own. So, yeah, another great chance for Arkansas and Sam Pittman to showcase your program. I mean, if you win today, you shock the world. I mean, I don't think that's an understatement, so huge opportunity today for Arkansas.
Clay shared with us that there was not a single picker in Hogs Illustrated that selected the Arkansas Razorbacks to say will likely be on College Game Day today with you have Desmond and Lee and Kirk and all those guys, plus whoever their guest picker is. They're not going to pick Arkansas, so I think it would mean that much more if somehow, some way you pulled it out because everyone outside of really that locker room, I know we've gotten a few fans that have texted in, Tommy, that think that Arkansas is going to win the football game, but no one in the outside world thinks you're going to, and that would make it that much more satisfying if you came out the victor.
Yep, and, like I said, for Arkansas today, you've got a good chance next week against Missouri to get to 8 wins. This would give you a shot at 9 in the regular season today and an unbelievable November. They remember what you do in November. Frank Broyles, one of his favorite phrases of all time. Well, this would be a November no one would forget anytime soon should it include a win over Alabama for the first time in 15 years.
Yeah, I saw Arkansas put that out on their social media pages, and, again, a direct correlation and a direct phrase from the late, great Frank Broyles, something he definitely harped on several times, not during his just coaching tenure, but his athletics director tenure as well. We've got a lot more to get to here on Arkansas Game Day. Next hour and a half, Tommy and I will be with you live from Randall Ford, presented by Bud Light. Clay Henry's going to be joining us, Tommy, in the 10 o'clock hour as well.
Yeah, looking forward to visit with Clay, who's been in Tuscaloosa for about 48 hours, so he'll have a good feel for what's going on there in the land of Nick Saban.
See if his brother beat him in golf. He was not too confident that he could beat his brother Butch in golf since he's played a lot more as of late. More of Arkansas Game Day coming up. Stay with us right here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
At a Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Jeremy, month of November, kind of special to this dealership, and some of the different things that you guys are doing is giving back basically to the community, and I love that.
We're giving back, like we always say, Randall to the rescue. And we have an opportunity here to give back to the community. And a couple of cool things we're doing this month is if you come in and you buy a vehicle, we're going to donate a turkey. Really cool. Also, if you come down and bring a new unwrapped toy for Toys for Tots, we're going to give you $1,000 off the purchase of your vehicle.
You know, last year when we did the Toys for Tots, we had an entire truck bed load full. So, I mean, it was phenomenal.
We're hoping to double that up and have 2 truckloads.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Somebody comes in, they're going to see a lot of pre-owned vehicles.
We have a ton of them, Jimmy. We have 205 used cars on the lot right now. And it's not just trucks or big SUVs. There's something that fits every budget.
There you go. Come by and see us, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. 4th oldest Ford dealership in America, my friends, is right here in your own backyard at Randall Ford.
You deserve to get good service and great rates. At State Farm, we get it. And we're here to help because with every State Farm policy, you get good neighbor service and you get surprisingly great rates. So what are you waiting for? Get going and talk to a local State Farm agent about your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
When you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Jason Glover in Fort Smith today.
Make Awake Bait and Tackle on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma has everything a fisherman needs. Rods, reels, tackle, plastics, all kinds of great baits to catch a wall hanger. Rods starting at $69.95. The biggest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reaction Innovation, Bobby Garland, Lake Fork Coogan, and more. And Make Awake has Daiwa rods and reels, and they repair them too. Make Awake Bait and Tackle, 1 mile east of I-540 on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Make Awake Bait and Tackle.
Late breaking news. Central Hydraulics has teamed up with Wacker Neuson to meet your ever-growing equipment needs. Wacker Neuson offers loaders, excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, and more. Central Hydraulics is also your Gates Hydraulic Hose Center. Stop by today at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith. Central Hydraulics, helping you move the world.
Crabtree Rv Center, leading the River Valley in sales and service for over 70 years. Founded in 1950, Crabtree Rv Center has grown into one of the largest family-owned and operated RV dealerships in Northwest Arkansas. Located on 17 acres, including a 26,000 square foot indoor showroom. Crabtree Rv Center has everything you need, all in one convenient location. Crabtree Rv Center in Alma, Arkansas, making your family's dreams come true.
Hi, this is Lindsay White with White Office Machines. For over 90 years, my family's been serving the greater Fort Smith region with the image industry's newest technologies, as well as providing superior customer service through long-term business relationships. As the area's only authorized Kyocera document solutions dealer, White Office Machines provides the best value with high-speed copiers and the latest multifunction printers. Stop by our office in downtown Fort Smith or in Russellville. Follow us on Facebook or go to whiteoffice.com.
White Office Machines since 1929.
Needing your roof repaired? Ramos Roofing is a local company that has over 25 years of experience, specializing in your residential or commercial roofing needs in the Oklahoma area. Ramos Roofing, a company you can trust, offering discounts to senior citizens, law enforcement, or healthcare workers, and assists in your insurance claims. Ramos Roofing, standing behind their work so you can stand under it. Call 479-420-9903. That's 420-9903. Ramos Roofing, working with you to build a better home.
The Peter Pender Zone of Wave Rural Connect is open. That fiber internet, phone, and TV service you've been hearing so much about is now available for areas south of the Arkansas River, to Coxville, to east of Cecil, and over to Roseville, with amazingly fast internet starting at $49.95 a month. Call 1-833-4WAVE-RC or go online to signup.waveruralconnect.com to get signed up. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities that we serve.
You know the Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment in Fort Smith is your go-to shop for everything pressure washers. But did you know that they also handle your industrial pump and supply needs too? It doesn't stop there. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment's industrial vacuum trucks can handle dry, liquid, and even sludge removal from several hundred feet away. Leave the cleanup to the professionals. Contact Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment at 782-3762. That's 782-3762. Sunbelt Chemical and Equipment, 3116 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith.
Here we go. From the Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3.
Well, this town is a pigskin paradise.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith.
This is Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
Jefferson in the gun, gets the snap. Here they come. Slant over the middle, complete. Burks, touchdown, Arkansas!
Arkansas Game Day is brought to you by Bud Light, the world's favorite light beer.
Fires down the sideline, alone at the 15-yard line. Johnson's going to go into the end zone untouched.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
So an hour and a half more of Arkansas Game Day live from Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Tommy, I was asked an interesting question last night from Morning Rush listeners. We know Will Anderson is one of the best, if not the best, linebacker in all of college football. The Alabama outside linebacker is a part of so many guys that have come through Nick Saban's defense. You think about Courtney Opshaw, Rolando McClain, the list goes on and on. C.J. Mosley, Mack Wilson. I mean, just All-American after All-American after All-American. Well, Arkansas has an All-American linebacker of its own, being Grant Morgan, also an Arkansas guy, Greenwood High School. We all know that. And the question that was posed to me last night is, would Grant start on other teams in the Southeastern Conference? And I thought about it for a second. I thought about it for a little more. I'd like to hear your opinion on that.
Well, other teams, yes. I mean, depends on which team you're talking about. I think you're asking would he start at Alabama, though. Is that the question you're really asking?
I don't know. He wanted to go through. I went through each of the SEC teams, and I was just like Toa and Anderson are starting, and they got one other guy whose name has escaped me for 1 sec. And I was just kind of going through the linebackers I know of each team and just kind of what I think about him and stuff. Grant has, I mean, the statistics back him up. There's a reason he's a Burlsworth Trophy finalist for the second consecutive year, but I thought it was a valid question just relative to what Arkansas has and kind of what the other SEC teams have as well.
I think the majority of teams he would either start or have a significant role in the defense. You know, Alabama, certainly this year, Georgia might be on a different level and might not get the minutes there, but no shame in, and I think at A&M, Ole Miss, some of these other programs, particularly now Ole Miss's defense is better, but they center around the offense, but obviously, I think he does play on the majority of teams. Bama and Georgia might be a little bit different conversation.
I think the question is of how many players that Arkansas has on its one roster. I'm talking about the ones, the guys that are starting and suiting up for the Razorbacks. Who would play on other teams and start, no doubt. Traylon Burks is obviously the first that comes to mind. I think you could make an argument for Ricky Stromberg and kind of the impact he's had this season. Jalen Cattle on pre-injury. Is there someone else I'm missing? Is there another guy on this roster that starts that you think, no doubt, unquestionably would start pretty much anywhere in the SEC?
I mean, did you say KJ Jefferson? I was thinking of my list as you were kind of giving yours, but I mean, how many places would KJ start as a quarterback for other SEC schools? We believe he's a top half, which would tell you, hey, there's a half to 2/3 of this league right now that would probably trade up for KJ Jefferson.
I don't think he'd start at Ole Miss, Alabama, Mississippi State, but then the list gets a little dicier, and you start comparing him to these other guys, and you say maybe I think Brian Harsin would love KJ Jefferson and
you
his
think Dan
offense.
Mullen would want some KJ Jefferson right now?
For Emory Jones, yeah. I think and Anthony Richardson, who's been up and down. I think there's definitely conversation.
Think LSU would like him some KJ Jefferson?
Yeah, to give him something, especially since that. So that's that's just something to think about heading to Game State. And the reason I bring this up is because Arkansas, we've said it all season, Arkansas's ones, they can compete with pretty much anyone in the country outside of Georgia, and we'll see what happens against Bama. It's when you get in that second and twos and threes that you're just like, it's a little hairy, it's a little dicey. Yeah. We don't know if it shakes out, and that's why depth is always an issue with this football team.
So a healthy Jalen Catalon might be the one guy that could start on all 14 teams.
Yeah, the All-American. Yeah, I would say that's – and Burks. I would say him and Burks are the two that you say no doubt, unquestionably. Because Burks is either the first or best – the second or first best wide receiver in the SEC. It's basically come down between him and Jamison Williams, the former Ohio State Buckeye and Alabama Crimson Tide member that you're going to have to somehow keep down today. Yeah. Jalen stacks up with pretty much any safety in this league, and I just don't know.
Shame we hadn't seen him this year. So,
yeah,
the last 2/3 of the year.
And the fact that he was playing since the A&M game and still trying to gut it out tells you something about his character and how tough and physical of a young man he is. But you could just tell. I mean, we brought it up every week. It's like, man, Jalen's just not having the typical impact. And then we're like, oh, it's because he's injured. That makes sense. So props to him for gutting it out for some of the season. But at a certain point, Tommy, the pain threshold just gets to be too much.
All right, let me throw another name at you that might fit in that category. Cam Little.
Trying to think. So you've got York, the All-American at LSU. You've got Reichert, who's the Alabama kicker today, who's pretty solid. I think Cam's kind of in that KJ category where it's that top 5-ish probably. But that some coaches be like, we'll just stick with our guy just because they know him or whatever. But I mean, Cam's, 17 for 21 on the season?
It's a name worth mentioning at least.
Yeah.
It's not a slam dunk, I agree, but, you know.
What about his long snapper, Jordan Silver, who's up for the
I'll sit back and listen while you go through the long snappers around the league, all right?
He's up for the Patrick – I was talking with Cam.
Up for the Brett Good Award.
Yeah, the Brett Good Patrick – I think it's Patrick Manley Award, given to the best long snapper in college football. Maybe Reed Brower as a holder because he took that –
Boy, we're stretching this conversation.
He took that thing a little bit. But, no, it's a conversation worth having. And I just kind of, when I got asked that question last night, I was just kind of sitting there thinking about it.
It's a good barstool conversation.
A little bit. So there's not like at Alabama, you can go through probably a whole list of, this guy could start anywhere, this guy could start anywhere. Arkansas's probably got, I think, 2 guys, Burks and Catalon. Yeah. Catalon hadn't played. That you could, no doubt, doesn't matter where you put them, what team they're starting. You put them in any type of offense or defense, they're starting. Then you got some other guys that are like the KJs, the Cams, the Rickies. Trey Williams might be kind of in that list where you put him on a lot of other teams. He's definitely having an impact in starting, but you don't know if it's every single team. And that's why you play football. Today, Alabama's got all these 4 and 5 stars that a lot of other programs across college football would love to have as a centerpiece, as the focal point of their football team. But they come to Bama because they want to win a national championship. And part of today's game is centered around the idea that you get to play spoiler. You get to knock Alabama potentially out of the college football playoff. Think back to 2007 when you went on the road and you beat the LSU Tigers. At the time, you thought you had eliminated their national championship chances. Now, that was a crazy day. West Virginia lost. Missouri lost. All these teams ended up losing later on, either that day or in the conference championships. But at that point in time, Tommy, you thought you had eliminated them from the discussion, and that made that victory that much sweeter.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just kind of rolling through the list of have we missed anybody else, and it's kind of weird. Not to ignore your question here, but it's kind of weird that Arkansas doesn't have a tight end. You normally think about one of the best tight ends in the league being at Arkansas, and that's certainly not the conversation this year because for so many years it has been. But I don't think we really missed anybody else. I don't think the D line really holds up to that. I don't know. I think that's a great question somebody asked you, and now it's got my wheels turning a little bit.
Yeah, just to think about it, ponder on it a little bit. And you'd like to be at a point in this football team and this program where you could say a lot more than just 2 players could start on any SEC team. Because I think last year when you looked at this basketball team, there were several guys on that team that if you asked the Ben Howlands, if you asked the John Calipari's, if you asked the Will Wades and the I'm drawing a blank, the Nate Oateses of the world, hey, would you like this guy on your basketball team? They'd say, yep, he'd start for us. And that's what you had this last year with this basketball team just because they came. And that's football we know, Tommy. It takes a few season cycles to recruit, and sometimes basketball it's just that one class that kind of turns it around and gets it done, and because it's that 1 or 2 players that changes things.
Yeah, and normally one player. There are a few exceptions: Cam Newton, Joe Burrow. A few you can point to, and generally they're quarterbacks that can turn an entire program around. But it usually takes a dozen or more players to really have an impact, particularly at a school like Arkansas, or in basketball, like you're saying. 2 players can take you to a whole other tier.
Just changes the prospect and everything. So still a lot to get to on Arkansas game day. Clay's going to be joining us at 10:30 this morning. Excited to catch up from him as he's down there in Alabama. I'd like to catch up with you as well at 877-377-6963 as we are live on Arkansas game day from Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith is a place to be if you're looking for quality, certified, pre-owned vehicles. And when we're talking trucks, we're talking Randall Ford. Whether you're wanting one that's one of the Leadfoot Grays, we have those. Raptors, oh yeah, we have those. If you're looking for the Venom R, they're built specially for Randall Ford. I have a gorgeous lifted Venom R sitting right here by me. So come by and check out all the trucks, all the selection today at 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith at Randall Ford.
The Gameday Lodge in Branson is the perfect place for corporate retreats, golf trips, and team building activities. Companies often kick off the new year with planning or goal-setting retreats, and the perfect place is Gameday Lodge. They still have availability during the weeks for November and December, and Gameday Lodge is decorated for Christmas, so guests can make great family memories. It's the ideal time to book spring golf trips to Branson before the dates fill up. Just search Gameday Lodge on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Airbnb, and VRBO.
This is Arkansas Game Day.
Don't let Santa pass your truck or car by this Christmas season. River Valley Truck Outfitters has all your vehicle's accessories ready for his stop, starting with WeatherTech accessories, window tinting, bed covers, and much more. Santa can help you with all your accessories needs. Just ask River Valley Truck Outfitters on Highway South 71 at the top of Rye Hill to assist. Gift cards, bed covers, and special wheels and tires. River Valley Truck Outfitters, your Santa's one-stop truck accessory store. Call 648-8855. That's 648-8855.
Family first. My dad used to tell us that all the time. But family first wasn't just something he'd say to us. It was how he lived every day of his life. And it's how I try to live mine too.
At Shelter Insurance, our agents are dedicated to helping provide personalized auto, home, and life protection that puts your family first.
Ask Shelter agents Randy Milam or Brad Howe about a free insurance review.
Make Awake Bait and Tackle on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma has everything a fisherman needs. Rods, reels, tackle, plastics, all kinds of great baits to catch a wall hanger. Rods starting at $69.95. The biggest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reaction Innovation, Bobby Garland, Lake Forgoogan, and more. And Make Awake has Daiwa rods and reels, and they repair them too. Make Awake Bait and Tackle, 1 mile east of I-540 on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Make Awake Bait and Tackle.
Hey Arkansas fans, this is JD with JD's River Valley Restoration and Detail. We offer full details, paint correction, ceramic coating, and much, much more. There's a reason why we've been voted best of the best 5 years in a row. Stop by 5606 Towson for an estimate or give us a call today at 479-629-7486. Again, that's 629-7486. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. JD's River Valley Restoration, where we're making new relationships one vehicle at a time.
The temperatures may be cooling down, but at Wheels RV in Northwest Arkansas, the deals are still red hot. Whether you are enjoying one of over 50 state parks or tailgating with your favorite team, Wheels has the right RV to help you enjoy fall in the natural state. And at Wheels RV, every new unit comes with a lifetime warranty. So get out to Wheels and see why they were voted best RV dealership in Northwest Arkansas. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Frank Row Furniture's November Super Black Friday Plus sale. We are running a sale that will save you hundreds of dollars. On top of that, we are having our Super Black Friday Plus sale all month long. Here's where the plus comes in. After saving hundreds of dollars on already marked down prices, get another 10% off on top of that. Frank Row Furniture's November Super Black Friday Plus sale. Frank Row Furniture. Best seats in the house.
The best TV experience in the nation is available locally with personal service from Wild World of Wireless, your neighborhood professional, Dish-authorized retailer. Dish has the Hopper 3, the most advanced DVR, and delivers a premium viewing experience. Tired of running out of DVR space? With the Hopper 3, you can record up to 2,000 hours of your favorite programming and watch your very own favorite channels and DVR recordings anywhere you go on your phone or tablet. Call now, Wild World of Wireless at 877-305-DISH for more details, or stop by our location at the corner of Phoenix and Rogers, or visit us online at shopwownow.com.
Monthly equipment fees and other restrictions apply. Recording hours vary. 2,000 hours based on SD programming. Remote viewing requires internet connection and compatible mobile device.
ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
The good snap. The hold is down. The kick is on the way. And it is good! Arkansas wins! The Razorbacks have won it! For the second week in a row, the last play of the game produces a Razorback victory.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
Let's look at some college football games coming up starting in 45 minutes. We know that we'll get into kind of our this is where we do our Bud Light scoreboard, but Tommy, it's more of a Bud Light scoreboard preview coming up, and we know that where the good times there are Bud Lights around, Tommy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Bud Light, brewed to be perfect for everywhere there's fun, because when there's fun, there's a Bud Light there. Every bottle, can, and draft of Bud Light uses 4 simple, high-quality ingredients to create a clean, crisp taste. Bud Light, please drink responsibly.
A couple big 11 o'clock games that could really impact the college football playoff. Start with close to home, Iowa State and the Cyclones traveling down to take on the Oklahoma Sooners. This is the Fox game. Oklahoma is only a 3.5-point favorite at home. Tommy, rumors circulating all week about Lincoln Riley's future in Norman. Curious how the Sooners come out today against Matt Campbell's Cyclones.
Yeah, if there's much to it, does this team play flat? They've really kind of used up they need a ton of help now after their loss. So, I mean, this is a big moment not only for Oklahoma, and I think the Big 12 as well. They don't really have a contender at this point to jump in there. They need something good to happen.
Other game that's going to have impact: Michigan State, Mel Tucker and Sparty traveling to take on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Buckeyes big favorites in this one, 19.5. That's behind the arm and legs of C.J. Stroud, who's been pretty magnificent. We're the best offensive team in college football this season.
Yeah, I was noticing as you were giving the line, the over/unders at 70. That's a lot of points in a Big Ten game. But this is, I think, without question, the game of the day. 7 versus 4. This is a big moment. If Mel Tucker is a candidate for that LSU job, and we all believe he is, wouldn't this kind of put him over the top in the eyes of a lot of LSU fans?
It's kind of surprising to see this game at 11 because it's not a Fox game. It's an ABC televised game. I wonder that's something that whoever's in charge of setting the schedule would have to explain that to me a little bit more, but I was kind of curious about why they're putting that there and not in prime time.
It's 36 degrees right now in Columbus, Ohio, and I think one of the reasons they do this in November, if you'll notice, they don't like to play a lot of night games in Michigan and Columbus and East Lansing and places like that with outdoor stadiums in November. So I think even their big marquee games, a lot of times at this point in the year, they don't want their fans sitting in sub-freezing temperatures for primetime football.
Oregon's going to take on Utah, another big game where college football playoff rankings are impacted as the Ducks travel to the Utes and take them out. That game is at night. Utah is a 3-point favorite against the higher-seeded Oregon Duck and Mario Cristobal, Tommy.
Yeah, and Oregon's got maybe one of the better wins of the year. Going on the road and winning at Columbus, giving Ohio State their one loss right now, and they're kind of the last holdout for the Pac-12, maybe to have a place at the table in that college football playoff.
Oklahoma State's going to take on Texas Tech in Lubbock tonight. Don't be surprised if that game gets a little bit weird. Baylor's coming off a big-time win. They'll take on Kansas State. Looking at the SEC schedule today, again, Arkansas-Alabama is the only ranked game a part of this conference. Georgia's going to smash Charleston Southern starting at 11. You've got Kentucky taking on New Mexico State, who just got rocked by Alabama. And I don't know if Kentucky can beat them as bad, Tommy, but they're still a 35.5 point favorite in this one.
Well, that's a tough ask for any non-Power 5 team to play two SEC teams back to back.
Yeah.
They got a 1-9 record at New Mexico State, and I don't look for it to get any better today.
Mississippi State taking on Tennessee State. Texas A&M taking on Prairie View A&M. Kind of an underlying SEC game that could be a little weird. Florida going to Missouri. There's been a lot of speculation as of late about Dan Mullen's future. And if they lose to the Tigers today, Tommy, that could turn on them real quick.
Absolutely, because and really, as an Arkansas fan, do you really want Missouri getting some confidence and an uptick? They had a win last week. Do you really want them to gain confidence playing Florida? It's kind of sleepy in Columbia, Missouri a lot of times. Will Florida be ready? You're going to find out a lot about this team, and do they want to play for their coach today?
South Carolina hosts Auburn. Got to remember, Bo Nix out for the season, the ankle surgery. Now, is it TJ or JT? I think it's JT Finley is taking over for the Tigers.
TJ Finley, isn't it?
Is it TJ?
Yeah.
Okay, I mixed it up. So he's going to be taking over for the Auburn Tigers. Curious to it's TJ Finley, how he responds today. And listen, South Carolina already beat Florida this season. Mm-hmm. Shane Beamer would love another marquee win when the visiting Tigers come to town.
And we mentioned a minute ago the Missouri's win. It was against South Carolina. After South Carolina had beaten Florida, they really didn't kind of hold their water, so to speak, after such for South Carolina to beat Florida, it's a big deal. Then to lose to Missouri to back that up doesn't say much about your team. It's a big moment today for South Carolina against an Auburn team, like I said, struggling at quarterback. And, can South Carolina kind of right the ship a little bit? I think it'll be tough sledding for them, even at home against Auburn.
South Alabama is going to Knoxville to take on the Vols. Vols win. They are bowl eligible. Mm-hmm. Vanderbilt is going to Ole Miss. This is going to be a blowout. Ole Miss 36.5-point favorites against the visiting Commodores. Clark Lee, man, that is just a tough gig. How James Franklin had two 9-win seasons, Tommy's beyond me there.
He's a good coach. That's how he did it. He made Vanderbilt a kind of as much as you can, a cool place to go. I mean, even if you you only got a 31 on your ACT versus 36, we'll find a way to slide you in. But Vanderbilt, it's almost like having a non-conference game today for Ole Miss, particularly with them being in Oxford.
You'd love to have Vandy on your schedule this next season.
Well, I mean, that's why playing in the East. I mean, right now, Missouri, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, for the top half of that league or the top 2 or 3 teams, certainly it is not balanced compared to what the West is this year. That seemingly is a lot of people beating up on each other from 2 to 7 in the Western Division.
That's kind of the college football roundup talk. One game I do want to mention, though, in the NFL. It's the biggest game that I think for our listeners, if we had to identify one game to pick out that had the most impact of the majority of NFL fans listening to the program, it is the Dallas Cowboys traveling to Arrowhead, like our buddy David in South Arkansas is right now, as they take on the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of storylines heading in this game. Dallas, the visiting team, actually the favorite in this one. We've talked about this game a little bit this week. Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Travis Kelce, Amari Cooper, Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Tommy, a lot of star power in tomorrow's matchup. Yeah,
and we were talking throughout the week about if you had to bet on a team, Labor Day weekend that was not going to hold up their end of the bargain for this matchup, we'd all said, that'd be the Cowboys. They'll choke again by November. And it's been the Chiefs that's really not lived up to expectation. If the Cowboys are truly a contender to be at least in the NFC Championship game, this feels like a game you need to go play well and win to kind of build that confidence and momentum going into the last, 5 or 6 weeks or whatever of the regular season.
We'll have that game for you tomorrow right here on ESPN 104.3 and ESPN 95.3. Coming up, Clay Henry, the publisher of Hogs Illustrated, is in Alabama as we speak. We'll get his final thoughts on the matchup today between the Arkansas Razorbacks and the Alabama Crimson Tide coming up on Arkansas Game Day.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
Links at Chaffee Crossing, located in Fort Smith, has the best barbecue in the River Valley, hands down. Check out Links at Chaffee Crossing's Facebook page for their daily specials and live music schedule. Links at Chaffee Crossing has dine-in or patio dining with a full view of the golf course. Also, stop by their full bar for a cold beer or a cocktail. Need a place to watch the Hog games? Links at Chaffee Crossing has that too. Get linked up at Links at Chaffee Crossing, 11707 Custard Boulevard in Fort Smith.
Lock in your price for 2 years and get a free Google Mesh router when you make the move to Dish right now with World of Wireless. Call 877-305-DISH.
Dish and WOW is always giving you free gifts to sign up for new service. Get the Hopper system installed for free, free voice remotes, free 3 months of movie channels absolutely free 2-year price lock. That's the important thing. Sign up by November 16th. You have about 2 weeks to sign up, get installed, and you'll save for the next 2 years on your TV service with the Hopper 3 system, and we're going to throw in a $150 Google Mesh router absolutely free when you sign up for new service.
And it sure makes automating the home and everything in your home easier to operate with this Google router.
And get 3 TVs in the home, less than $80 installed, but you got to call us now. World of Wireless, 877-305-DISH. Get all the freebies with Dish by November 16th.
And nobody likes when prices go up, and you get a 2-year price guarantee to keep that low price with Dish. 877-305-DISH is the number. That's 877-305-3474 for World of Wireless.
I have so many things that need to be done around the house, like fixing the gate on my fence, painting the front door, and that's just a start. I'm not the best DIY person or even have enough time if I were.
Call the experienced crew at Top Notch Roofing and Construction.
Well, isn't that...
I know what you're going to say, but Top Notch does it all. They service both commercial and residential clients with roofing, siding, windows, gutters, fencing, and remodeling. But they also have a crew that specializes in those honeydew jobs piling up at home.
Thanks, man. I'm calling Top Notch Roofing today.
Top Notch. Everything from roofing to honeydews. Call them today.
For more than 80 years, Forsgren Inc. has been building the foundations of the River Valley and beyond. Forsgren, a destination point for men and women with a drive toward excellence, is now hiring experienced concrete finishers and heavy equipment operators. Apply now from any mobile device at forsgreninc.com. Forsgren is a heritage company and a premier employer. Don't miss this opportunity to become part of the Forsgren legacy. Apply now from any device anywhere at forsgreninc.com. Forsgren Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
The most wonderful time of the year for the deer hunter is now. Get ready at Jelco Outdoors and bag a wall hanger this year. Orange vest and caps, camo hoodies, insulated coveralls, and overalls for men, women, and children. Warm waterproof boots, tree stands, ground blinds, and grunt calls. Everything you need for deer season is waiting for you at Jelco Outdoors. Good luck and safe hunting from Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco.
Papa's Pub and Pizzeria has incredible game day specials, resulting in big-time wins. Hogwash Punch is only $5, and the Hogzilla Specialty Pizza is only $16.99, made with pulled pork from Neumeyer's Rib Room, sausage, Canadian bacon, pepperoni, crispy bacon, and cheese, dusted with Neumeyer's Rib Rub. Come watch every Arkansas game at Papa's. 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
For 33 years, Manfield's Automotive Parts City Auto Parts has been trusted as your one-stop for all your vehicle needs. Get a great deal on a Superstart battery and any of the products you need for the do-it-yourself upkeep on your car or truck. When you need work done, Mansfield Automotive Parts City Auto Parts does everything from oil changes, brakes, alignments, diagnostic work, air conditioning, and more. Mansfield Automotive Parts City Auto Parts in downtown Mansfield is open 8 to 5:30 Monday through Friday and 8 to 1 on Saturdays.
ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
The good snap. The hold is down. The kick is on the way. And it is good! Arkansas wins! The Razorbacks have won it! For the second week in a row, the last play of the game produces a Razorback victory.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
Back here at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith, where they have brand new Ford F-150s in stock right now. The best-selling truck in the industry. They have been around here since 1908. It's over 100 years of quality customer service. They are the 4th oldest Ford dealership in the country. So come on by and see us again. We are at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Well, we're here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Clay is in Alabama getting ready for this Arkansas-Alabama matchup today beginning at 2:30. Clay, a lot of excitement surrounding this game, and I know we talked about it a little earlier this week. It just seems like fans feel this is a game that they can compete in, that they haven't had that same mentality in years past when playing the Crimson Tide.
Well, it's two things. One, Arkansas is obviously a lot better, and two, Alabama appears at least vulnerable. They've lost a game and had a couple others that went down to the wire, and makes you think that, well, maybe that's a lead-in for us. I'm talking about Arkansas, how they might be thinking. Yep.
Yeah. What should be the expectations today? I mean, you feel like Arkansas has to be able to run the football to have a chance today. That exclusively relying on the passing game probably won't work out. What are your expectations for Arkansas? What is that roadmap to being there in the fourth quarter?
Well, the Sam Pittman blueprint is to run the ball to set up play-action passing. And you're right. If you don't run the ball, it sure doesn't set up play-action passing. In fact, if you're not able to run the ball, what happens is generally the defensive ends and linebackers can tee off and pass rush, and while you're making a fake, they're closing ground on you for a sack. And you've seen that a couple of times this year. The Georgia game, when KJ was turning to make a fake, they weren't holding. And part of that is when you have extreme confidence that your secondary can cover, and I think that's the way Georgia and Alabama both feel. So that's you've got to block them some, and of late you haven't blocked Alabama at all in the running game. So I've heard Sam talk about that. If you can't run the ball, then you got to run counters, and you got to trick them with formation switches and do the complicated things that have caused them problems in part, getting lined up right, because there's so much movement pre-snap, and it forces your linemen to hold in their stances, and that's how they get their procedure penalties, and especially happens on the road.
Yeah. When you look at defense today, Arkansas is going to be facing, again, a Heisman Trophy candidate in Bryce Young, great wide receiver, and Mechie out there. What are some of the keys today for the veteran Arkansas defense that really features a lot of graduates that stuck around through the COVID years, some graduate transfers like John Ridgway and Williams and others on that defensive line? How does this veteran defense need to play today?
Well, the problem with Alabama is that they generally can run the ball, which means you have to play with a heavy box. And then that allows Alabama's wide receivers to get the kind of coverage that they can beat. And you got Mitchie on one side, and then you've got Williams on the other side, the Ohio State transfer. And Williams is probably the more dangerous just because of his speed in the big play. I mean, his per-catch average is way up there. But both of those guys are real threats. They may not be quite as deep at receiver as they have in the past when they were running 4 or 5 guys in there, when they had Devontae Smith and Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs. I mean, they had a slew of them there for about a 3-year period, and I think that's one of the signs of where Alabama is, that they don't quite have the depth at running back. They don't have quite the depth at wide receiver. If they get nicked up during a game, substitutions are a problem at those two positions, particularly running back, where Robinson doesn't really have a backup. They played a wide receiver and I think a defensive back at running back in the second half as they were trying to finish off the New Mexico State game last week. So that's where you see Alabama's depth, and the same thing happened when they had an injury against LSU at center. As they shuffled some people around in the offensive line, they weren't able to just elevate backups, and that's not been the case at Alabama in a long time.
Talking with Clay Henry here on Arkansas Game Day. Clay, LSU 2 weeks ago brought the house a lot, not just against the Crimson Tide, but against the Razorbacks last week, and it was successful for that defense. Does Arkansas look to do similar, kind of like they did against LSU this past week? What kind of things are you expecting Barry Odom to try and do to confuse and hopefully irritate Bryce Young later today?
Well, if you think you can cover, then the blitz is a good option. You don't want to leave your guys running against man coverage, those two receivers, if you can't get there. LSU got there, and they did against Arkansas last week. I'm not sure that Arkansas has the same speed at some of the spots that you saw with LSU. But I think you do mix it up, and I think the Arkansas linebackers, you're going to test them. You want to see what you can do. If it's successful, then you keep dialing it up. And if it's not, then, you back out of that and you cover. They bothered Alabama a little bit last year as far as the passing game, but their running game with that offensive line was so superior that it didn't matter. Now, I don't know that this offensive line is the same as what you saw last year with Alabama. That's where they've had their fall off. So, do you cover and think maybe you can kind of slow them down a little bit in the run? Do some of that and probably bring some blitzes. But I don't think you'll ever see Arkansas with these corners and safeties just line up and blitz play after play after play like LSU did. I think it'll be a dose of that.
Clay, what does today mean for Bryce Young and the Heisman chase? We're nearing the end of November. 3 weeks out, I guess, from the conference championship games. It doesn't seem like anyone has run away with the Heisman vote yet. What does today mean for Bryce Young? What does today mean perhaps for Will Anderson? And kind of where's your thinking right now with your Heisman ballot?
Well, the tough thing for Alabama is that they've got two guys, and it's you just mentioned Will Anderson, who I think is on my ballot. I'm not sure Bryce Young is. I don't know. Things change. When I get 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, I might feel totally different. But I think what you do at the end of the year does matter. And I think if you want to be in New York City when that award's announced, this is the next 2 to 3 weekends are really big. And I think that Bryce Young's got a chance. I mean, he's a 70% passer. He's done everything you would want for a first-year player at Alabama. But I remind you that he is a first-year player, and he wasn't so good at Texas A&M. He can stamp himself as somebody that deserves votes. But what for Bryce Young, what he doesn't need to have happen is for Will Anderson to have a great game. I mean, it's just one can trump the other. I mean, there's you can only put one guy first, and you can only put one guy second. You can only put one guy third, and all at once you think, well, I'm not putting two Alabama guys 1-2 or 2-3. And one performance, and I've seen that happen at Nebraska. I've seen that happen at Oklahoma when they had 2 or 3 players, and all at once they're kind of knocking themselves down because it's a regional vote. And that, I mean, that there'll be areas in the country that don't list Alabama strong. So, it's really tough when there's 2 players from the same team that are both candidates, or let's put it this way, both worthy of votes.
What was so odd last year is, and I was hoping that Devontae Smith would win. I think Tommy and I were kind of in that same camp, but both of us. But when we got down to it, we didn't think it was going to happen because Mac just had unreal numbers this past year. But the now Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver ended up taking it with Mac Jones right there. So I'm curious, kind of like you're talking about with splitting votes, Clay, how that ends up shaking out. And how much, like, with defensive players, we hadn't seen one win since Charles Woodson in 97. Maybe this year could be a little different with Anderson and Jordan Davis down there in Georgia with the impact that they've had. Maybe there's a new level of recognition we see with defensive players in college football relative to the Heisman Trophy chances.
Yeah, I think it's really tough, and for a defensive player to win, obviously. And, it's been for many, many years. I've been voting the Heisman since 78, and I have always put a defensive player on my ballot. It's almost like a protest that that they're being left out. And I Ndamukong Suh is, on my ballot at one point. I could probably think of some more, but it's I just think it's a shame that you've got to have stats to win the Heisman. I mean, I think you can. If you pass the eye test, that's good enough for me. And Jordan Davis is a player. When I watched him perform against Arkansas, against Ricky Stromberg, who I think is a really good center, and he just toyed with him at times. And one man can't block him. And the same thing with Will Anderson. And I think that when the defensive coordinators have that kind of a player, it makes playing defense so much easier, and it just changes the tone of the game. And that's where Arkansas is playing against Will Anderson. They've got to account for him sometimes with two guys just to run a basic play. And that's, that makes it so much easier for the other 10 guys on the Alabama defense, especially the secondary guys who are not going to have to cover for very long.
Yeah. Never took you as the stubborn kind with your ballot to try to make a point.
You never did? Okay.
Didn't know Clay Henry was stubborn. All right, what's the weather like in Alabama today? It's cool. It's kind of partly sunny here in Arkansas, but what will both teams face today at Bryant-Denny?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great day. It's I played golf yesterday, and it was a little cool starting out, but not cold. And I think it's what you would call football weather. It's at game time. It's going to be probably 60, 61, something like that. Bright sun. That will be a factor. When you look back into the sun and early in the game, I think once it gets behind by the second half, you'll be in the shade, so it won't. But there might be some situations early in the game where, a receiver or a punt returner has to, shield his eyes or find a way to block that sun out. But that's really stretching it to say there's going to be any weather problems today, because it's going to be a nice day.
Yeah. And we were talking, Ty and I were talking about this earlier. By default, in some opinions, kind of my opinion is that by default this game becomes the 2:30 CBS game. Take full advantage, because in a lot of cases the eyes of the country will be on this game, just because there's not many other options in the SEC in particular worth watching today.
Well, there's that 11 o'clock slate was pretty watered down. I mean, that was like, all the ice is melted in your iced tea, right? Nothing there. You just see right through that glass.
Yeah.
I don't. I think that it's going to be a fun day, and I think there'll be a lot of people watching. It'll be on Arkansas to keep them watching, right? And that's if people are still watching in the fourth quarter, that means Arkansas's had a pretty good day.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Ty, you still there?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm here. I thought you were going to ask something else. So, Clay, Tommy, you got anything else?
No, I think Clay has covered it well. Be careful. Enjoy the game. Be careful in your drive back.
All right, thanks, guys. Look forward to seeing y'all next week.
All right, Clay Henry with us from Tuscaloosa, where I'll be interested to see kind of what the environment's like today. I mean, you look at Alabama, the number 2 in the country, and it just doesn't have the same feel, Ty, of the previous dominant Alabama teams Arkansas has faced, and the concern side of me says we may get a reminder of what Alabama's all about today.
Yeah, wouldn't that just be the worst thing ever? As we've kind of led up to this week discussing, they're not number 1 in rushing defense. They're not number 1 in the offense. They're not number 1 in this. They're not number 1. They're not doing this, and then they just slap you. Because we made the point this week. Matt Jones, Clay's colleague at Whole Hog Sports and the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, has pointed out that Arkansas has lost by more points each year since 2014, so they would have to lose by 50 or more for that to stick, and I just can't see that happening. But that would be the most Alabama team ever if they just came out and did that today. But we'll have to see what happens in this game. We're a little less than 4 hours out from Arkansas and Alabama kicking off at 2:30, and we'll still have you for the next hour or so here on Arkansas Game Day. More than happy to jump in 877-377-6963 as we are live from Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
Randall Ford is the place to be at 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith if you are looking for Mustangs. Sitting next to a Boss 302. This Mustang just looks fast sitting here, my friends. Come by and check it out. It is the UA Fort Smith Blue with the white speed stripes on it. A Boss 302. Hard to find, fun to drive. If you're looking for Explorers, if you're looking for GMC Sierras, if you're looking for, I don't know, Jeeps, yeah, we have all of those. Raptors, several of those. Come by and see us. Looking for Dodge Rams, the 1500s with the Hemis, yeah, we have those too. Over 200 pre-owned vehicles to choose from can be found, my friend, at 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. 113 plus years in business, family owned and operated. Fourth oldest Ford dealership right here in your own backyard. Come by and see us at Randall Ford, or as always, you can shop us online at randallford.com.
This is Arkansas Game Day.
November is one of the best football months of the year. Watch it in style with Dish from World of Wireless. 877-305-DISH.
Call WOW Now or go to our website, shopwownow.com. Get the all-new Hopper system installed absolutely free. Get a $150 free gift when you sign up for service, a mesh Google router. But more importantly, did you know you can record 16 games on a Saturday? I mean, sometimes there'll be 4, 5, 6 games on at once, and maybe you like 2 or 3 of the teams. You can get all those games recorded. Now, nobody's really going to record 16, but you can if you want to, and you can record your wife's favorite movie if you need to also.
And with all the technology built into the Hopper 3, it's easier than ever to record your favorite shows, even watch Netflix, Prime Video, and more with the Hopper 3 from Dish.
That's right. Call 877-305-DISH. Remember, you get the free voice remote, so you can just say, find Razorbacks football, and it'll find you that channel.
Full of technology, you'll love the Hopper 3 from World of Wireless and lock in your price for the next 2 years. Call 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474.
Some of my fondest childhood memories are from volunteering with my grandmother. Helping others was her passion. She'd always say, the sweetest fruits of life come from serving others. And she was right.
At Shelter Insurance, we strive to make a positive impact in the communities where we work and live.
Ask Shelter agents Ted McAvoy or Jeff Clark about a free insurance review.
Hey Arkansas fans, this is JD with JD's River Valley Restoration and Detail. We offer full details, paint correction, ceramic coating, and much, much more. There's a reason why we've been voted best the best 5 years in a row. Stop by 5606 Towson for an estimate or give us a call today at 479-629-7486. Again, that's 629-7486. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. JD's River Valley Restoration, where we're making new relationships one vehicle at a time.
The 86th Annual World Championship Duck Calling Contest and Wings Over the Prairie Festival is November 26th and 27th, Thanksgiving weekend in downtown Stuttgart, Arkansas. We'll have children's duck calling classes, hot air balloons, exhibitor tents, 5 and 10K great duck races, a beer garden, and the Michelob Ultra Duck Gumbo Cook-Off, the Wings Over Prairie Festival, Thanksgiving weekend in Stuttgart. For more information and a full schedule of events, visit stuttgartarkansas.org or call 870-673-1602.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
When you've escaped the screens and the sun bathes everything in a golden glow, and your friend hands you a cold organic beer that tastes as perfect as nature itself, that's pure gold. Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, the first national USDA certified organic beer. Organic by nature. Enjoy responsibly. 2020 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Pure Gold, St. Louis, Missouri.
Where can you get an SEC breakfast burrito? Or a Jack or Hammer sandwich? Or a Moo Pig burger? Moo Pig Suey! You can get all this and more at Black Dog Meat Company in Booneville. Black Dog Meat Company is a fantastic family-owned restaurant serving some of the best breakfast burritos, sandwiches, burgers, beef jerky, and farm-raised Iowa Black Angus beef steaks in the River Valley. Find Black Dog Meat Company's menu, daily specials, and more on Facebook. No black lives were harmed in the making of this food.
ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
The good snap. The hold is down. The kick is on the way. And it is good! Arkansas wins! The Razorbacks have won it! For the second week in a row, the last play of the game produces a Razorback victory.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
All right, we're live here from Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. About 10 minutes away from seeing Oklahoma and Iowa State kick off. Plus, you've got another good game up there in Big Ten country in Columbus, where College Game Day is at, between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Michigan State Spartans. So a couple big-time games early on, Tommy. You were talking about just the not wanting to play those Big Ten games cold. I was lucky enough when we went to Madison, where it was about 50, 55 degrees, and we know how quick it turns up there in Ohio and Wisconsin and Michigan. It's a little different up north. I know Fayetteville can kick gold, but it's a little different when it gets up to those November and December months up there.
Yeah, it's a dry cold, though. You know, it's not. They always say it's a dry heat, so can it be a dry cold? I mean, it's one thing to be playing and moving around out there in freezing temperatures, but when you're just sitting, even though they pack 100,000 plus in the big house and all these Big Ten stadiums, and the SEC's got some, it's still cold sitting there. So I would imagine they don't play it because they know at night it hurts their attendance. I mean, particularly your older fan base, you want to sit there in 30-degree temperatures at night, and then you got to send everybody out. I think that's exactly why we see the Big Ten avoid the primetime matchups for a huge top 10 game.
Clay was telling us the weather in Tuscaloosa. It's going to be about 63 degrees at game time. That's perfect. That's about as good as it gets. I like football games where it's the fall and you're wearing a pullover, you're wearing your jeans. It's not blistering hot. It's just a nice cool. So I know Clay is going to enjoy himself, as the Arkansas fans that have made the trip. Now, Tom, we were talking, there's good chunks of Arkansas fans that made the trip down there to Baton Rouge. Tuscaloosa is about 6 hours from Little Rock.
Yep.
8.5 from Fayetteville, 8 from Fort Smith. Like, you look around at some of our listening areas here in the state. How many fans do you think are making their way up to Tuscaloosa like my parents are this afternoon?
I'm going to say not as many as you might think. I mean, you got your hardcores that go every week, everywhere. But generally, fans travel in masses and big numbers when you feel like you're going to go watch a win.
Yeah.
And unless this is a game that you just want to go because it's on your bucket list or you're completing the SEC Stadium Tour bingo card, generally fans try to pick a game where you feel like, hey, we got a chance to go win that game. So, or there's other activities you want to go do. You know, like a lot of people go to Kentucky and they want to check out fall racing at Keeneland or go on the bourbon tours. You know, when Arkansas is played up there. With Alabama, you get a chance every other year to go, and this just seemingly doesn't feel like one that hey, Arkansas has got a great chance to go down and win the ball game.
Yeah, and Tuscaloosa, from what I've been told, is not the coolest SEC town. Now, I know the football team and the stadium itself is pretty cool, but I haven't heard just these great reviews of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I do want to try some barbecue from Archibald's and Dreamland at some point, but it's been it's at some point in time we'll get down there and we'll see what that's like. But I am a little envious of my parents getting down there. But I think today, with the game being what it is at 2:30 on CBS, Alabama's going to have a really good crowd. We know that, and I don't think Arkansas is going to be as impacted by that as they were against Georgia. One, because I don't think Alabama is as good as Georgia at this point in time, even though I think if they meet in the SEC championship, the Crimson Tide are going to beat them. I know, follow the logic, it doesn't make any sense, but I can't see Arkansas getting their butts kicked today, Tommy. I just don't see that. They might not cover the spread, but I'd be very surprised if this was a 30-plus point ball game today.
Well, I mean, go back a couple of weeks to the LSU game. And that outcome, and as close as that was, and it's the right play at the right moment at the end of the game could have made the difference for LSU. Why was that game the way it was? Because it's a game that LSU takes a lot of pride in how they play. It wasn't about the coaches. It wasn't about the drama going on around the transition with Ed Orgeron leaving. It was about those grown men taking pride in how they're going to play. Now, can Arkansas get in that mindset that, listen, we're going to go to another level. We believe we can win, and we're going to take it to them because, we're going to take pride in what we do. And you say, well, you ought to do that every week. Well, I'm just telling you, sometimes when you're doing it for yourself and each other, not because the coaches are rallying you to do it or pumping you up to do it, teams can find that magic level. Question is, can Sam Pittman get to that magic level today? And then what happens when you get punched in the mouth? Then what do you do? So a lot of questions to answer today, but you're going to find out about the makeup of this veteran team that's not had any success against Alabama. How much pride do they take in today's final performance for some of these guys that are playing Alabama for the very last time?
And if I'm Morgan, Burks, and some of the other leaders on this football team, I want to be the guy that says, you know what, I was a part of the group that snapped the losing streak against Alabama. We'll see if they can do it
in their house.
In their house. Yeah. Coming up at 2:30. 30 more minutes of Arkansas Game Day headed your way next.
Back out of Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Absolutely loving the cooler weather. And, Billy, as I look over this dealership, you guys have a lot of pre-owned and you have a lot of new vehicles for sale.
Yeah, we got 2 truckloads of new stuff in. We probably got what you want. We got a great selection of pre-owned stuff here on the lot.
I'm digging the fact that not only do you have a lot of pre-owned, but some of the new F-150s that you have. And if someone's looking for something, we're talking vehicles, but if someone's looking for something to play in, you've got a bunch of Jeeps to choose from, too. And I love the fact that it's something people can get out in the woods, have some fun in, and just get away from things for a change.
We just got a beautiful white Rubicon on trade with a hard top, and it's going to be ready to roll in the streets here in just a little bit. We got a great selection of Jeeps. Got a little bit of everything out here today.
All they have to do is just come by and ask for Billy?
Come by and ask for Billy.
There you go. 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. 4th oldest Ford dealership, my friends, right here in your own backyard. Come see us today at Randall Ford.
2 of the best seasons are in November, football season and hunting season. Take TV on the go no matter where you're at with a Playmaker from World of Wireless.
With those 2 great things, 2 great events happening in fall, you need one more great thing, and that's the Playmaker. It's the all-new Playmaker. It's the size of a cooler. Get all your channels. So you can get football. You can also wake up and watch your hunting shows if you didn't get one that day. But you can sit around camp all weekend, deer camp all weekend, fishing weekend, and watch all your favorite movies, all your favorite football games, all your favorite shows if the hunting's not that good.
Plus, you can use it the rest of the year, whether you're going to the lake, your second home, anywhere you want to take TV on the go, you take the Playmaker along.
Essentially with that, you can have 2 locations with 1 account. So don't waste money on cable at home. Switch to Dish, get the Playmaker, have TV service in 2 places, especially at your tailgate or your hunting deer camp.
All right, take the Playmaker to deer camp or the tailgate this year with World of Wireless and ask about the Duo where you can power 2 different TVs.
And we rent them also for your deer camp.
877-305-DISH for WOW World of Wireless.
Whole Hog Cafe on Phoenix Avenue is now open 11 till 8 Monday through Saturday. Whole Hog Cafe has party packs for your watch party, tailgate party, business meetings, or lunch and dinner for the family. You will see a few new items on the menu to go along with the award-winning barbecue and sides. Whole Hog Cafe, Phoenix Avenue, offers online ordering at wholehogfortsmith.com, along with curbside and delivery service. Or come see us 11 till 8 Monday through Saturday. Follow Whole Hog Cafe on Facebook and Instagram for specials.
Need a reason to smile? River Valley Smile Center can give you one. We are a comprehensive dental practice located in the heart of Fort Smith. From cosmetic dentistry to orthodontics, implants to sedation, we have everything you need for a brighter, healthier smile. Find out why we've been voted the River Valley's best of the best winner 4 years in a row by giving us a call at 479-646-0706. That's 479-646-0706.
For more than 80 years, Forsgren Inc. has been building the foundations of the River Valley and beyond. Forsgren, a destination point for men and women with a drive toward excellence, is now hiring experienced dump truck drivers. CDL Class A or B license with medical card is required. Apply now from any mobile device at forsgreninc.com. A heritage company and a premier employer, Forsgren offers top wages and benefits. Apply today at forsgreninc.com. Become part of the Forsgren legacy. Apply now on any device at forsgreninc.com. Forsgren Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
Growing up, my parents always encouraged me to do what's right, even if it wasn't easy. I'd always hear my mother's voice say, "Do the right thing." That stuck with me. Every day, just do the right thing. That's it. The rest takes care of itself.
At Shelter Insurance, we believe in doing the right thing for our customers and our communities.
Ask Shelter agents Brandon Zimmerman or Chris Dooley about a free insurance review. The Gameday Lodge in Branson is the perfect place for corporate retreats, golf trips, and team building activities. Companies often kick off the new year with planning or goal-setting retreats, and the perfect place is Gameday Lodge. They still have availability during the weeks for November and December, and Gameday Lodge is decorated for Christmas, so guests can make great family memories. It's the ideal time to book spring golf trips to Branson before the dates fill up. Just search Gameday Lodge on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Airbnb, and VRBO.
Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith is a place to be if you're looking for quality, certified, pre-owned vehicles. And when we're talking trucks, we're talking Randall Ford. Whether you're wanting one that's one of the Leadfoot Grays, we have those. Raptors, oh yeah, we have those. If you're looking for the Venom R, they're built specially for Randall Ford. I have a gorgeous lifted Venom R sitting right here by me. So come by and check out all the trucks, all the selection today at 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith at Randall Ford.
From the Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris, Fort Smith.
Are you sure this is legal? I don't know. It's fun though, isn't it?
This is Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith.
Jefferson in the gun, gets the snap. Here they come. Slant over the middle, complete. Burks, touchdown, Arkansas!
Arkansas Game Day is brought to you by Bud Light, the world's favorite light beer.
Fires down the sideline, alone at the 15-yard line. Johnson's going to go into the end zone untouched.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
30 more minutes of Arkansas Game Day coming at you live from Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Getting you ready for Arkansas, Alabama coming up in 3.5 hours, 2:30 kickoff. The Learfield pregame will begin with Phil Elson, Gino Bell, and Rick Schaefer following us. And then don't forget about Hog Reaction tonight with Drew and Zach. And I know, Tommy, that if Arkansas somehow, some way wins later on, I think you and I are going to have to call in Hog Reaction and get on this this conversation because so 06 last time Arkansas beats Alabama. That's 15 years ago. Was the Morning Rush even existent then, or did it start?
It just started. I was actually on the field. The way the media passes work and the way it worked back then, you went into the building doesn't exist now in the north end zone, the Broyle Center as it was then, and that's where the post-game media was. You actually went into the locker room. So the last 5 or 10 minutes of game time, you went down onto the field. And I remember being on the sideline in that north end zone, just off to the side on the northwest side of the end zone when Ben Cleveland caught that pass from Mustaine, just kind of a laser shot in there and threaded the needle. Lee Tiffin missing multiple chances to win the ball game for Alabama, hit the uprights a couple of times, and Arkansas wins that game in Fayetteville in 06. You couldn't have convinced me then it was going to be the last time Arkansas would win for the next decade and a half. But we didn't know Nick Saban was coming a short time later and that he would revolutionize and reestablish an Alabama program that we'd only read about, from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, you need a little luck today, a little lady luck on your side. Yeah. That's something Drew and I think we're discussing on Thursday. The 06 game where Lee Tiffin has what Vern Lundquist called a nightmarish day. He had Brandon Bostic, who missed the what would have been game-winning field goal in overtime in 2003. 95, you have Barry Lundy rolling out and finding J.J. Metters on that 4th and goal, that was very close, and you thought the officials would call incomplete, but they called it a touchdown. So these wins that you've had over Alabama, not just Arkansas wins, but other wins that programs can boast that they beat Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide, they don't come easy, and sometimes things just have to bounce your way on 50-50 chances and opportunities.
But you got to put yourself in a position where a 50-50 shot's going to make a difference, and there's only been really one, maybe 2 games where you really felt like you had a 50-50 shot in the last 5 minutes. I guess 14 when you lost by 1, and then 2010 you might make a case for. Arkansas just really from 2007 on have not competed well in this ball game, and far too often these games have ended up 4 and 5 and 6 touchdown margins.
So we'll see if Arkansas can compete again. That's coming up at 2:30, and you can hear it right here, ESPN Arkansas at hitthatline.com. As we're keeping it going here on Arkansas Game Day at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. Jordan, a big day for college football later on, starting really at 11 o'clock and about right now with Oklahoma taking on Iowa State and then Ohio State taking on Michigan State. Big day for the college football playoff rankings coming out this Tuesday.
Oh yeah, man, Ty, it's fun every Tuesday to see this happening, see the way it's going to change based on what people think.
Yeah, you've got some stuff going on right now, and I know that around the holidays we talked about this a little bit last week. You guys really try to give back. I know there's Toys for Tots thing sitting right next to me, and you guys are donating turkeys and doing all these things. What all about this community makes you want to be such a part of it here at Randall Ford?
Man, just the way that they've taken care of us over the years, 100-plus years here at the dealership, and it's because the River Valley is taking care of us. That's part of it.
1908, fourth oldest Ford dealership in the country. Now, Tommy and I were talking about the Ford Bronco earlier, and I felt like we gave it pretty good detail, but I think you could do it a little better. What makes that vehicle so special and unique?
What Ford put into it. Ford really got behind this product and said, hey, we want a vehicle that is going to be able to take you across any terrain, and just really got behind it and did everything they could to make it top of the line.
What do y'all's hours look like next week? I know people, Thanksgiving, holidays coming up, they're thinking about getting a new vehicle, birthday presents, Christmas presents, just present. What does the hours look like for Thanksgiving next week?
We will be closed Thanksgiving Day. We want to make sure our family here at Randall Ford gets to go and spend time with their families at home and have a good Thanksgiving. But we will be closed that day, but we'll be open for normal hours starting Wednesday and Friday, so come by and see us.
What's Black Friday look like at Randall Ford?
There's going to be some special stuff going on. You make sure you stop by and see what's going on.
We'll be here next week. Excited about it. Well, Jordan, best of luck today in college football. If you got any bets or anything going on, and we'll do it again next week on Black Friday. It's going to be crazy next week.
Appreciate it, Ty.
Best food holiday coming up, Thanksgiving. Tommy, how excited are you about that, man? I was getting texts this past week from family members asking, hey, what do you want? What sounds good this holiday season? I know you're
elastic pants. That's what sounds good to me.
Sweatpants. So sweatpants are vital around the holidays, which is much food as you and I and so many of our listeners consume. But
it's the best food holiday of the year, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
I mean,
what are you going to be cooking and Laura cooking next week?
We'll have a smoked turkey, and we normally have a smoked turkey and then a roasted turkey. I will probably do something different. I've got 2 back straps from a deer my father-in-law took last year.
There you go.
That have been in the freezer, and I think I want to take those. They're 2 nice sized little tenderloins, deer tenderloins. Fillet that open, butterfly that open, put cheese and pepperoncini peppers in it. And then wrap it in bacon and put it on the smoker for a little while. That's about as good a eating as you're going to get as a good backstrap on Thanksgiving. So I think I'm going to go backstrap and turkey, and then listen. No one has ever starved at a Kraft family event. There will be plenty of mac and cheese, mashed potatoes. I've got to have the cranberry sauce that goes with the Sister Schubert rolls. It's like jelly. You got to have some of that. You got to have my wife will make a crock pot dressing that is just incredible. So we'll not starve to death. We'll be very blessed.
I just pour gravy on everything. That's my thing. I'm
not a brown gravy guy.
Really?
No. Too
brown,
salty and it
white.
just
Is it giblet or giblet?
Well, giblet gravy.
Giblet gravy. Okay.
We never really make that package that's stuffed up in the turkey. Now we just get rid of that.
Really?
Then what you got to do? My other thing I love to make. This was my grandfather's deal, my late grandfather, my mom's dad. Homemade turkey and dumplings. And we make chicken and dumplings several times throughout the winter. But you take the turkey broth, and you take some of the dark meat off the turkey, the thigh and the leg, and you put some of that in. And I might even go get another small turkey and just boil that down for the stock and the meat. And then we hand roll out, make our own dumplings. And then take a pizza cutter, you cut those, and you make turkey and dumplings. And it's just different. It's at another level from chicken and dumplings.
Tommy, I can't say that I've had that.
No, it was a Carter family tradition on my mom's side. We lived for it at Thanksgiving and Christmas. It was the one thing we lived for.
Well, you might have to bring some in
it's great.
For me and Drew the holidays.
It's got a rich flavor because of that turkey stock that's just different than chicken stock.
Yeah, That sounds pretty good. I love chicken. And both my grandmothers, my mamaw who lives in Hattieville, Arkansas, outside St. Vincent, where Matt Zimmerman grew up, and then also my grandmother who now lives in Kansas City is moving to Little Rock. Both of them do a fantastic job with chicken and dumplings. They're awesome, homemade, and fantastic. It takes time, man, to roll those suckers out, but it is worth in the long run when you taste the results of how much work and effort you put into it.
Yeah. So it's without question the best food holiday. I know we're going to start with a potluck here in the office next week. So it's just a week of forgetting about. I guess you can maybe go to the gym to try to not get too far behind, but it's just you can just throw in the towel next week. So
yeah, it's next week. So I'm pretty good, Tommy, about working out at least 5 times a week, but next week is just going to be an absolute disaster. Like, I'm just not going to. I'm going to, as you said, wear elastic pants, watch football all day. We'll be doing the show here live here from Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith next Friday.
A little different time. Let's point that out because Friday would normally be a morning rush, if it not for the football game. But so we're going to be on 8 to 11:30. So if you get up early to go do shopping or whatever you do, we won't be with you till 8 a.m. next Friday for that one day only.
Yeah, gives us a chance to sleep in. I think after the food coma that we'll be having on Thursday, that's probably wise.
What's that chemical they say is in turkey? Starts with a T. I want to say trichinosis, but I know that isn't even close to
testosterone?
Right. No, it's not testosterone. that makes you sleepy. So they say that's why you fall asleep after during the Cowboys or the Lions following a turkey dinner. So
is it dopamine? Barton Rogers texts that in.
No.
It's not aphrodisiacs. That's in oysters, right?
See, I shouldn't even brought it up. You guys are going in a whole different direction.
That's in oysters. That's what I've been told once or twice. But we'll talk some more Arkansas football coming up again. We will have you for the next 20 minutes or so here on Arkansas Game Day. You're welcome to jump in here, 877-377-6963. Also a reminder, Arkansas basketball, big games this next week as they'll take on Kansas State in the Sprint Center on Monday night. And then if they win that game, they'll likely take on the Illinois Fighting Illini that Tuesday night. And then also Chiefs-Cowboys this weekend. Great weekend for sports. Great weekend if you're a Morning Rush and ESPN Arkansas listener, because we'll have all that coverage for you right here. Coming back.
Tryptophan.
Yeah, tryptophan.
Coach Dell Leonard, Mountain Home, thank you. Tryptophan.
Okay. Yeah, David Marshall and Evan in Fayetteville also text that in as well. Yeah. So thanks, guys, because I had no clue what it is. Tommy needed some help, and he got it. Appreciate it.
Eat another turkey leg and be snoring.
Yeah, so. Just relaxing. All right, more Arkansas Game Day coming up next live from Randall Ford.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith is a place to be if you're looking for quality, certified, pre-owned vehicles. And when we're talking trucks, we're talking Randall Ford. Whether you're wanting one that's one of the Leadfoot Grays, we have those. Raptors, oh yeah, we have those. If you're looking for the Venom R, they're built specially for Randall Ford. I have a gorgeous lifted Venom R sitting right here by me. So come by and check out all the trucks, all the selection today at 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith at Randall Ford.
The Game Day Lodge in Branson is the perfect place for corporate retreats, golf trips, and team-building activities. Companies often kick off the new year with planning or goal-setting retreats, and the perfect place is Game Day Lodge. They still have availability during the weeks for November and December, and Game Day Lodge is decorated for Christmas, so guests can make great family memories. It's the ideal time to book spring golf trips to Branson before the dates fill up. Just search Game Day Lodge on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Airbnb, and VRBO.
This is Arkansas Game Day.
Don't let Santa pass your truck or car by this Christmas season. River Valley Truck Outfitters has all your vehicle's accessories ready for his stop, starting with WeatherTech accessories, window tinting, bed covers, and much more. Santa can help you with all your accessories needs. Just ask River Valley Truck Outfitters on Highway South 71 at the top of Rye Hill to assist. Gift cards, bed covers, and special wheels and tires. River Valley Truck Outfitters, your Santa's one-stop truck accessory store. Call 648-8855. That's 648-8855.
Family first. My dad used to tell us that all the time. But family first wasn't just something he'd say to us. It was how he lived every day of his life. And it's how I try to live mine too.
At Shelter Insurance, Our agents are dedicated to helping provide personalized auto, home, and life protection that puts your family first.
Ask Wade Gilkey in Fort Smith about Shelter's home insurance.
Late breaking news. Central Hydraulics has teamed up with Wacker Neuson to meet your ever-growing equipment needs. Wacker Neuson offers loaders, excavators, skid steers, telehandlers, and more. Central Hydraulics is also your Gates Hydraulic Hose Center. Stop by today at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith. Central Hydraulics, helping you move the world.
Make a Wake Bait and Tackle on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma has everything a fisherman needs. Rods, reels, tackle, plastics, all kinds of great baits to catch a wall hanger. Rods starting at $69.95. The biggest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reaction Innovation, Bobby Garland, Lake Fortgugan, and more. And Make a Wake has Daiwa rods and reels, and they repair them too. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 1 mile east of I-540 on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
Law's Drugstore in Fort Smith has COVID vaccinations available today for you and your family. Law's Drugstore has the Pfizer vaccine for ages 12 and up. The vaccine is safe and effective in preventing severe cases of COVID. Just call 452-6116 to schedule your appointment or stop by Law's Drugstore at 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drugstore, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family. Call them now, 452-6116.
Wheeler Power Sports has you covered this fall with a huge in-stock selection of ATVs, side-by-sides, dirt bikes, motorcycles, scooters, and more. Looking to sell or trade? Wheeler Power Sports is begging for your gently used off-road vehicle or motorcycle. Go to WheelerPowersports.com to check out the full in-stock inventory or give them a call at 479-783-5822. Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
It's No Shave November, benefiting the Arkansas Prostate Cancer Foundation. Show support for prostate cancer survivors and help raise money to support the mission of the Arkansas Prostate Cancer Foundation. Donate online at arprostatecancer.org. All money raised supports Arkansas Prostate Cancer Foundation's free awareness and educational programs, free prostate cancer screenings, and free patient assistance programs. And every dollar raised stays in Arkansas. Prostate cancer screenings can save your life. Donate today at arprostatecancer.org.
Messy leaks, stopped up toilets and sinks, all of these can be a nightmare. This is Emily with Mr. Rooter Plumbing in Fort Smith. Did you know that when you call Mr. Rooter, you get real-time tracking so you know exactly when to expect us? We know you're busy, so we send a reminder, so scheduling with us is convenient. When you need plumbing, call Mr. Rooter in Fort Smith or book online at mrrooter.com. We're your neighborly company.
ESPN 95.3.
You're listening to Arkansas Game Day live at Randall Ford, brought to you by Bud Light.
The good snap. The hold is down. The kick is on the way. And it is good! Arkansas wins! The Razorbacks have won it! For the second week in a row, the last play of the game produces a Razorback victory.
Call or text the program at 877-377-6963.
Good question from Jason as we're here at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith on our video live stream, which you can always ask questions via Facebook, via YouTube, via Twitter, via Twitch. Tommy, he asked, do you think Arkansas will blitz Bryce Young as much as they did LSU? Now, let's think about this. Bryce is a much more mobile quarterback than Nussmeier and Max Johnson. Clay brought it up earlier. Arkansas doesn't necessarily have the foot speed that LSU does have, but I think you're definitely going to see them take some chances. But like he said, it really depends on Monteric, Joe, and some of the other safeties and cornerbacks, how they're defending Jameson Williams, John Mechie, and those Alabama wide receivers and pass catchers.
You know, as we saw with Arkansas's game against LSU, Arkansas, when they couldn't run it up the middle, bounced to the outside, and the lateral speed, sideline to sideline for LSU, is so good they could catch up and get ahead of you. If Arkansas blitzes and leaves a spot open, do they have the speed to pursue, whether it's an open spot in the middle of the field, if you blitz from a linebacker, if you come from an edge with a corner or a safety, can you fill that spot defensively? LSU's got the speed both sideline to sideline and to cover the line of scrimmage. And I just don't know if Arkansas can quite hold on to that. So you take a risk when you blitz. There's a great reward, too, if you get a 7 or 8 yard loss of yardage on the play, on a sack.
Mm-hmm.
But you leave a hole open, and, boy, that's where a slant can go from 6 or 8 yards or 10 yards to the house in a hurry.
Yeah, and if you're an Arkansas fan, you don't know much about Alabama. Jamison Williams is the guy that makes the Crimson Tide tick on offense. Number one, he's going to be easy to spot, the Ohio State transfer. Clay brought it up earlier. Tommy, I think he has 51 catches for over 1,000 yards. His yards per catch is off the charts. Like Treylon Burks, he's in kind of that select few for the best wide receiver in the Southeastern Conference. If you asked anyone, hey, who's the best wide receiver in the SEC, they would probably tell you, if they know what they're talking about, it comes down to Jamison Williams and Treylon Burks.
Yep, and so Big Dave, how you play against the best is how you're really defined ultimately when it comes down to it. Burks did not have a great game against Georgia. Here's a chance to, you don't have to get 100 yards, but you need to be, 75 yards and have 6 to 8 catches in a game today to really feel like for Burks you had a good day against a great defense in Alabama.
What's been odd about Alabama this year is as awesome as they've been offensively, they've struggled in parts. They struggled in the second half against Florida. They struggled in the second half against LSU. And A&M, Bryce had some not unexplainable but mistakes, but games that are plays that you're just kind of like scratching your head a little bit that haven't necessarily been indicative of what he's been this season. And if you can get him out of his rhythm at home, which I think is going to be very difficult to do, that's going to really help your football team. I don't think Arkansas can limit Alabama to 20 points like LSU did 2 weeks ago, Tommy. But if you can hold them, under like 35 maybe, I think you have a chance to at least compete in this one.
Yeah, so I've got this game like 31-24. I think Arkansas can stay close. You can't have special teams gaffes. You can't let them block a punt. You can't let them score on a return. I mean, special teams have been better. Scott Fountain still catches a lot of grief at times, but Cam Little's been special this year. Arkansas's, had a few moments. It's not been perfect, but special teams, I think, has maybe been one of the most improved areas of the team when you objectively look at it, Ty.
Especially from start to finish to where they started to where they're at now. If you want to say, even dating back to this last year, his initial year to where they're at now, that's what's so crazy about just where they've been, because you've truly, if you look at how the game played out, Tommy, you won against Mississippi State and LSU, and the main part of that was because of your special teams non-miscues, the mistakes that you just didn't seem to make in that game. And you've got this true freshman who's just got a cannon of a leg, and he's only going to get better at his time in Arkansas. Cam Little had a chance to talk with him earlier this week. You can listen to it in the Bud Light Seltzer Morning Rush podcast, and just how excited he is to kind of live up to expectation. Tommy, this was the number one kicker on 24/7 Sports in his class, and, man, when you're 17 for 21 and you've hit a game-winning field goal, hit big-time clutch kick after clutch kick, that is only going to get you up there in the rankings.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player you can count on and rely on, but, I know many are thinking, well, what about the play against Texas where you nearly lost a punt and replay save you? What about the block kick at Georgia that led to the score? Listen, it's not been perfect, but you think about where special teams were last season versus where they're at this year.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can come to a conclusion it's not one of the most improved, if not the most improved area of this football program.
I like what you said about Treylon Burks, because Burks was not anywhere in this past game against LSU. And listen, give Ed Orgeron and that LSU team credit, because he is the gas that makes the car go. When Treylon Burks is involved in the Arkansas offense and productive, there's a good chance that you're going to have a shot in the football game. And they limited him, and yet Arkansas still managed to end up winning the football game. Burks cannot be taken out of the game, and Arkansas have any shot.
Nope, need 7 or 8 catches, 6, 7, 8 catches at least. You need, to at least be approaching 100 yards probably, because you need him to get you first downs. You'd love to get touchdowns, but Ty, it's about moving the chains, marching down the field, giving yourself a chance to get to the red zone. And maybe at some point along the way he can break free against Alabama. Alabama just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. That's why they've been as good as they are. But it seems like against Georgia, against LSU, and perhaps today against Bama, the game plan when it comes to Arkansas for opposing defenses is you may beat us, but number 16 is not going to be the reason why.
Bill Belichick, when he schemes up an offense, he always takes their best player out. And LSU did that to Burks last week. He only ended up with 16 yards off 4 catches, so an average of 4 yards per catch. You as and I'm speaking to Kendall Briles at this point. Kendall Briles, what he did in the Mississippi State game is he found Traylon to get him the ball in a variety of different ways. In the backfield, throwing the football, catching the football, all over the place, not just playing the slot, but just everywhere. If you could do that against Alabama, put him in linebacker situations, just put him in situations where Alabama is not just used to knowing where he's going to be, that's going to help him elevate his game based off last week. Because this is still, I know we said this so many times, this is one of the best wide receivers in college football, and I know that he's not on the Biletnikoff Award watch list, which should be a crime and a felony in itself, but this guy can make plays. You just got to give him opportunities, Tommy.
Yep, and but making plays also is on his side. He's got to get open. And then Jefferson's got to get him the ball. So there's a lot to it. The offensive line's got to give time to protect. The play's got to develop. So we'll see how it unfolds today. This is, I think, a big opportunity for Arkansas to, even if they don't win the game, to declare that, hey, this validates that we are moving in the right direction. What you have seen to get to this point, we're not just bowl eligible on your own and get to 7 wins. It's validated that there's some substance here to what's going on in Fayetteville.
And I think with Burks, you saw it kind of with Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans. Johnny would just throw up the ball to him, and we've seen that with KJ, and we saw with Felipe to some extent. Even if Traylon is not per se open, he's got the athleticism and he's got the catching radius and ability. Just throw the football up. You're going to have to take chances because Alabama's secondary is so solid that he's going to still look like he's covered. Just throw it up. Let him make a play. Even if I'm not talking about the double coverage, Tommy, but if he has one-on-one, we've seen on these zero blitzes, KJ just kind of lets him go make plays, and Traylon's come up time and time again.
All right, been another great day to be at Randall Ford. Ty, they got some great stuff going on, including the all-new Bronco there at Randall Ford.
Yep, if you haven't seen it, you need to come check it out. It is an incredible vehicle, and it is the perfect one, not just for tailgating, but all sorts of different things that you can be doing with it. So come by and see us. We're at Randall Ford, 5500 Rogers Avenue in Fort Smith. This has been a great Arkansas game day. Learfield pregame coming up with Phil Elson.
Chemical and Equipment in Fort Smith is your go-to shop for everything pressure washers. But did you know that